Meanwhile, the United States was the great neutral. With a population approaching 100 million people, Americans were busy enjoying a growing economy, Coca-Cola, motor cars, and baseball. At first, America stayed out of the war, but American industry provided a lot of the equipment and financing. In a time before television and the internet, Americans read newspapers which made the war seem very far away. In 1914, the war was very far away. Influential people like former President Theodore Roosevelt supported going to war, especially after a German submarine sank the luxury liner Lusitania on May 7, 1915, killing roughly 1,200 people, including more than 120 Americans. But Americans out in the heartland didn't know anybody who sailed on luxury ocean liners and weren't about to go to war for them. President Woodrow Wilson was re-elected in November 1916 with the slogan, "He kept us out of the war." Wilson offered to negotiate an end to the conflict. However, shortly after Wilson's election, the German government did two things that completely changed American attitudes in just 3 months. In January 1917, Germany declared unrestricted submarine warfare. Any ship bringing supplies to Britain or France would be torpedoed. American merchant ships were now targets. German submarine attacks were a frightening new way of fighting. They attacked silently, with no warning, breaking the rules that had restricted naval warfare for 100 years. In a few weeks, 4 American ships were sunk with 15 dead. Another German move brought the war to America's front steps. They secretly offered to let Mexico take back Texas and U.S. territory in the Southwest if Mexico entered the war on the German side. The Germans sent the offer in a telegram to Mexico City, but British intelligence intercepted the message and gave it to the Americans in late February. Now the conflict had gotten much closer. On April 6, 1917, the United States officially declared war on Germany. England and France cheered. Tired from 3 years of battle, they were running out of men, out of food, out of everything. The Yanks were coming, and they would change the tide of the war. The United States slowly started building a 1 million-man American expeditionary force and moving it to Europe. Eventually, 2 million U.S. troops would serve overseas. America had never before fielded an army of this size. The newspapers nicknamed the AEF soldiers doughboys. Where the name comes from, nobody knows for sure. Some different theories say their uniform buttons looked like dough, or that the soldiers ate fried donuts, or that cavalry soldiers used the name to describe the dust-covered infantrymen. There are dozens of other theories. Regardless, the name stuck, and the doughboys shipped off to France. Many historians downplay the U.S. role in World War I because America didn't fight in the war for very long. By the end of 1917, elements of the U.S. Marines and the 1st Infantry Division were fighting alongside the Allies. But the AEF's full strength would not be tested in large-scale combat operations until the following spring. However, in 1918, neither side was winning. They were literally stuck in the mud, and it looked like the stalemate could go on for years.